Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will learn about nested and multiple conditional statements in C++. Conditional statements allows a program to make decisions based on different situations. So we will explore if else, nested if else, if later, logical operators and switch statements here. So the decision making is an essential part of programming. A program often needs to choose one action over another depending on whether the condition is true or false. Conditional statements controls the flow of execution. Every condition evaluates to either true or false based on that result that the appropriate block of code will be executed. This is how conditional statements works. Starting with if statement. If statement is the simplest decision making statement. It executes a block of code only when the specified condition is true. In this example, if student's score is greater than or equal to 60, the program displays you passed. Next, coming to if else statement. This statement provides two possible execution paths. If the condition is true, the if block executes. Otherwise, the else block runs. Here, the program decides whether the weather is warm or cold based on the temperature. Next comes the nested if else. Sometimes one decision depends on another. In such cases, we use nested if else, where an if statement is placed inside another if statement. Nested structures. In a nested structure, the inner condition is evaluated only if the outer condition is true. Proper indentation makes nested conditions easier to understand and maintain. Here is the syntax of nested if else statement, and this is example of nested if else. It's a great classifier example. Mark is the input here, and based on the mark, the grades are calculated. When the mark is equal to 72, the first condition confirms that the student has passed. The program then evaluates higher grade conditions before finally assigning the grade B. This is voting eligibility example program. This example uses nested conditions to determine voting eligibility. A person must satisfy two conditions here, being at least 18 years of age and being a citizen. And here is the results output. The different test cases demonstrates here how changing age or citizenship changes the program's output. Both conditions must be satisfied for the person to be eligible to vote. In test case 1, age is 20 and citizen is true and the person is eligible to vote. In test case 2, age is 20 but the citizen is false. In that case, the citizen can't vote and it displays must be a citizen to vote. In case 3, the age is it doesn't meet the criteria. It is 15 here and the citizen is true and the output prompt is too young to vote. Next comes the if else if later. When there are multiple possible outcomes, the if else if later is more suitable than nested conditions. It checks conditions one by one until the first true condition is found. Here let's see about the ladder structure. The conditions are evaluated from top to bottom. Once a matching condition is found, the remaining conditions are skipped. Therefore, the order of condition is very important here. And here is a traffic light example. Here the example represents a traffic light system. Depending on whether the signal is red, yellow or green, the program displays the appropriate instructions. Since the signal is yellow, the corresponding message is displayed. The remaining conditions are ignored because only one branch executes here. Next is a BMI calculator example. Here the ladder is used to categorize a person's BMI, body mass index, into underweight, normal or overweight or obese. Here is the output. The BMI value is 27.5 and the category is overweight based on the conditions that has been given in the program. Next comes the logical operators. So this operators allows us to combine multiple conditions. Here C++ allows three logical operators and or and not. The overview of logical operators is given here. More about these logical operators we have gone through in the operators and expressions videos. And here is the example for AND operator. In this example, the entry is allowed only if the person's age is at least 18 and they possess a valid ID. If either condition is false, the entry is denied then. And next comes the OR operator. Here, the program identifies whether a given day is weekend by checking if it is Saturday or Sunday. Next comes an OR or NOT operator. It reverses a Boolean value. If the user is not logged in, the program asks the user to log in before continuing. Combining logical operators here, complex conditions often combine and or and not. If this login validator In this login validator, the user name and password and the number of attempts must satisfy the required conditions for successful login. The test case clearly shows that if any required condition fails, a login attempt is rejected. This illustrates the importance of combining conditions correctly. Next comes the switch statement. The switch statement is useful when a single variable can have multiple fixed values. It provides a cleaner alternative to long if else if ladder. Here is the syntax followed by example. Day name example is given here. The cases are starting from 1 to 7, each case displaying day in a week, and the default is comes to an invalid day. So if day 3 it is Wednesday, day 7 it is Sunday, and if day 9 there is no 9th case, so it displays invalid day. And switch statement doesn't case values can be integers as well as it can be characters also. Here is the example. Key takeaways to summarize: use if for simple decisions, if else for two alternatives, nested if else for dependent conditions, if else if ladder for multiple choices, and switch for fixed values. Combine conditions using logical operators and whenever required. So in this lecture, we have learned different conditional statements in C++, including nested conditions, multiple branching, logical operators, and switch statements. These concepts form the foundations of decision making in programming and are essential for solving real world problems. Thank you. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.